Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Scott Case. Thank you very much for the great introduction. I'm gonna bring some energy. Come on, guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. That's what I'm looking for. I love graduations. They're a huge opportunity to sort of think and reflect about what you've accomplished and what you've done. And I also like to have a lot of fun. So we're gonna break some rules, but I need your participation. You guys good for rule breaking? Anybody? Okay, good. It's the only way I've gotten this far is breaking the rules. I'm not good at following them. But first I want to share a short story. This week I heard a story on NPR about graduation that sort of stuck with me, and I want to share it with you. It's a story about a guy named Orlando Morell. He was 6 years old when he and his mother were rescued as refugees coming here to the United States from Haiti. And they were coming here because his mother had terminal cancer. And so when they got here, there was a woman named Louise Jackson. She was a Navy petty officer who was a Haitian immigrant herself, had emigrated here about 10 years prior. And she was assigned to translate for the refugees. And she got along really well with Orlando and his mom, excuse me. But the mom was dying, and her ask of Louise was a big one. Would you take care of my 6-year-old son for me? About 3 months after they emigrated here, Orlando's mom died, and Louise kept her commitment. In fact, so much so that this week, Orlando, who had been rescued by the Coast Guard, just graduated from the Coast Guard Academy, thanks to the guidance and commitment of Louise Jackson. But while that's a powerful story in its own right, what struck me about it was how Orlando saw it. And he said, it's not so much about what I did, it's about what my moms did. Because one, it's not me that decided to make the journey, he said. It's people like my biological mom that decided to partake on this journey. And it's people like my mom, Louise Jackson, who dedicated her life of self-sacrifice. And me coming to the academy is because of their doing, not my doing. And as I thought about that for myself, and I thought about your own stories, your own journeys, you've come a long way, you've accomplished a lot. But there were a lot of people around you that helped you get to this place. And so we're going to do our first breaking the rules part of this. There'll be two. This is the first one. Okay, all of you who brought your cell phones and you weren't supposed to, please bring them out. It's okay. It's okay, right? Nope, you're graduating. What are they going to do? Throw you out? So take the cell phones out, please. There'll be activities for you rule followers at the end. Okay, so take those out. Here's what I want you to do. A lot of people helped Orlando on his journey. A lot of people helped you. I want you to text message those people that helped you. Post something to Facebook on it. Tweet. Use whatever social media that I've forgotten if you'd like to. Send a message to people that are probably in the audience here of thanks, really, of gratitude, because they helped you get this far. And you deserve the opportunity to spend that with them. And while you guys do that, I'll ramble on a little bit about my own experience. So for me, my own experience over the last 20 years really was shaped by a set of relationships, some very close to me. My father convinced me to actually get an engineering degree and not drop out of school, and because I was convinced that I should just seek my fortune right away. My mom taught me that giving was always more rewarding than receiving. And my wife, who's here today and is one of the most tolerant human beings on the planet, not only tolerates me, but fuels many of my ambitions and has helped me to accomplish a lot of the things that I've managed to do. And those relationships and many others led me on a wide range of adventures. My first was mentioned earlier. I was one of the co-founders of Priceline.com, one of the early 90s internet, darlings of the time. Helped grow a business called Network for Good that's helped over 50,000 nonprofits raise about $650 million using digital technologies. And most recently, I was working on ending malaria deaths in Africa, where right now a child dies every 60 seconds from a disease caused by what I think of as a stupid mosquito. I'm now leading an organization called Startup America, where we're focused on helping step up America's startup economy to the next level. All the things that are common to my own story and probably the stories of yours are these kinds of relationships. So I want to share two stories about two relationships really important to me. The first is about 15 years ago, I met my now friend and mentor, a guy named Jay Walker. He was interviewing me for a job, and we got pretty deep into what I wanted to do and what he was building at Walker Digital, which is an invention laboratory. And he gave me some advice, even in the job interview, that stuck with me the entire time and has stuck with me since, and I want to share it with you. He says, Scott, you don't get to make a lot of choices in your life. You don't get to choose your parents or your siblings. You don't usually get to even choose your friends or often where you live. You sort of default into these things. You do get to choose your life partner, and you get to choose what you work on, how you spend your time. Now, he didn't give me a whole lot of advice on the life partner part, but he gave me some business advice. And he basically said, look, it takes as much effort to work on a small idea as it does to work on a big idea. You're going to work just as hard, you're going to have just as much risk, you're going to have just as many challenges. So why not work on big, bold, audacious ideas? Let's focus on those. Well, that hooked me. I remember coming home to see my wife. I said, I'm going to join this crazy guy who wants to do big, bold, nutty things. And as it turns out, 2 years, and as it turned out, unbeknownst to me at the time of making the choice, 2 children later, which was an interesting adventure in its own right, we launched Priceline.com, which became one of the fastest growing internet companies of its time, reached about $1 billion in sales in 24 months. I don't think that's happened to many other companies. And my wife kind of immortalized this for me in a chunk of metal she gave me a few years ago. And it's got a quote in it, slightly modified by a guy named Pastor Robert Schuller. You may know this quote. But it's a powerful idea, and it's an annoying idea. Okay, so here's the quote. What would you attempt to do if you knew you would not fail? What would you attempt to do if you knew you would not fail? Now, the powerful part of that is it's a kind of a big idea. It gets you thinking about big opportunities. And the challenging part, of course, is that it's the attempt part, because the attempt assumes that there might be failure, and yet it follows quickly with, but you're not going to fail. It's a little bit of a quandary. So as you're thinking about the things that you're going to do next, test your ideas, test your vision, test the things you get yourself involved with against that notion of doing something big, because it's just as much effort. Brings me to my second story, which is a friend of mine named Sasha Dichter. Now, Sasha's a big thinker, helps lead an organization called the Acumen Fund based in New York City that focuses on developing countries. And he shared this big, audacious idea with me, but it started with a problem he had with himself. He noticed that he was saying no to a lot of things. He was saying no on the subway to homeless people who were asking for money. He was saying no to speaking engagements that were slightly off the mark. He was saying no to emails that people were asking for some of his time. And he realized that saying no had become a habit. And it was a habit that he did not like. So he had an idea for an experiment. He called the experiment his generosity experiment. And his idea was very simple. He was going to say yes to everything. Big stuff, small stuff, just yes. Not only was he going to do this, but he was going to say yes to every request, every day, for an entire month. Every day, say yes. So he basically turned the whole thing on his head and decided to say yes. When he shared his experience with me, it kind of crystallized something for me in my own life. And it sort of defined generosity in a big way, similar to the way my mom talked about giving is more powerful than receiving. But it also had me realize that in my life, almost all the great things that had happened all started with yes. Some kind of generosity, some sign of acknowledgement saying yes. In fact, the reason that I'm here is because of yes. So about a decade ago, I decided to say yes to be introduced to a guy named Ray Chambers, who right now is the UN Special Envoy for Malaria. But at the time, he was a leading business person, a pretty famous philanthropist. And I said yes to him. And about 5 years later, he called me up and he said, Scott, I'm working on malaria. It's this huge problem. At the time, it killed a child every 30 seconds, about 1.2 million kids a year in Africa. Will you come help me? I said yes. About a year ago, I got a call from a colleague of mine at Malaria No More, who was at Malaria No More with me, named Christina Roberts, who's in the audience somewhere here, works for the dean, and said, would you come and talk to our school? We're growing like a weed, and we'd like some help. And I said yes. And then a few weeks ago, the dean called and said, I'd like you to come give a commencement address. And I said, are you sure? I wear red, white, and blue sneakers. And he said, yes, I'd like you to come and talk to our graduates and their guests. And I said, yes. I have no idea what that yes is going to lead to. But I know it's going to be awesome. I don't know how it'll be awesome. Something awesome will happen. And in fact, as I think about it, it's really something awesome that was what was inspiring to me about Orlando's story. His mom's ambition to come to America to try to both help herself but also to have a better life for her kids. Louise Jackson's commitment, saying yes and taking on, getting a kid through high school and through college. I have 4 children. This was somebody else's child. She made that commitment. And even Orlando, his own recognition that he got here because other people helped him get here. Those are all awesome things. They're big, they're powerful. And so I have my final ask of you to break some rules. I would like you to be bold and a little ambitious with me right now. I'm hoping you're going to say yes. Can I hear a yes? Yes. I would like you to, all the graduates, to please stand up and turn around. Go on. We're not going to make fun of you up here, I promise. No faces, guys, okay? On 3, I would like you to say thank you to all the people who got you here. 1, 2, 3. Thank you! Woo! Congratulations to all of you. Thank you for having me be here on your special day. Enjoy it. It's a huge opportunity for you, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Beautiful.
Thank you.